a fountain, a whipping at the eyes, an undertow at the ankles. It was a rain to drown all rains and the memory of rains. So often making rain the mise en scène for life. Bradbury was onto something. Everyone knows that life could not have developed without water. Life, as we define it, required a wet and watery planet. But the Earth as exceptional blue marble story many of us grew up with is, in some ways, as much a product of the human imagination as the warm Mars sea of The Martian Chronicles. Modern scientists have good evidence that Earth did not develop as the sole wet and watery orb in our solar system. Earth, Mars, and Venus were born of the same batch of flying fireballs. All three boasted the same remarkable feature: water. What's exceptional about our blue marble is not that we had water. It's that we held on to it, and that we still do. While the ancient oceans of Venus and Mars vaporized into space, Earth kept its life-giving water. Luckily for us, the forecast called for rain. As even-tempered as it grew up to be, Earth started off 4.6 billion years ago as a red-faced and hellish infant. The universe had been unfolding for about 10 billion years. A new star, the sun, had just been born. Its afterbirth, cold gas and dust and heavier minerals and flaming rocks, was flying about, beginning to orbit. The heavy debris gravitated to the sun, where temperatures were well suited for rock and metal to condense. That's why the 4 planets closest in, known as the terrestrials, are all made of essentially the same stuff. For its first half-billion years, Earth was a molten inferno some 8,000 degrees Celsius, hotter than today's sun. Scientists call this violent era the Hadean, from the Greek word Hades, or hell. Time and again, the young Earth built up a crust, only to see it incinerated by storms of flaming meteors. Inside the fiery storms, though, was a lining better than silver. Virtually all of the rocks that made Earth had water locked inside. Water is a remarkable shapeshifter, able to change from liquid to solid or to gas when it needs to make an escape. As meteorites crashed onto Hadean Earth and split apart, they spewed out water in the form of vapor. This was water in its gas form. No different from the steam rising from a boiling pot on the stove. In a sort of geologic burping contest, both the crashing boulders and young Earth's rising volcanoes disgorged water vapor and other gases into the Hadean atmosphere. All that water vapor would prove an invisible redeemer. Today, at any moment, more water rushes through the atmosphere than flows through all the world's rivers combined. The molecules speed around like pinballs, bouncing off one another, off other types of molecules, off dust and salt from sea spray. Only when air cools do they slow and begin to stick together, latching on to the gritty particles. When billions of them have condensed, they form tiny liquid droplets. Billions of the droplets, in turn, become clouds in the sky. This is the beauty of water vapor. It falls back to Earth as rain. When Earth was still a molten mass and hot as Hades, the vapor could not condense. Instead, it hissed away into space. Eventually, though, it began to build up in the young planet's atmosphere. Water vapor is a heat-trapping or greenhouse gas, just like carbon dioxide. The more gas that built up, the hotter and hotter Earth became, melting the forming crust all over again as the flaming boulders continued to fall like bombs from outer space. About 500 million years after it started, the Blitzkrieg began to wind down. As the last of the flaming chunks fell to the surface or hurtled away, the planet finally had a chance to cool.